What's up everybody, my name is Vincent. Welcome to Cryptolution, where we talk about everything under the moon in the crypto universe. Today's Monday, January 26th, and we're going to be talking about in today's video the wild weekend that we just had. Now, Bitcoin took a massive dip due to some recent news regarding possibly a government shutdown, the yen in Japan dropping in value and how the United States may come in to save that. But Bitcoin took a dip because of these prices. And also, we're going to see how the memecoin market sector reacted to this, because surprisingly, even though the memecoin sector took a hard hit, Dog Bitcoin came back in full force. So in this video, I want to share with you what's going on with Dog Bitcoin, especially in the charting, why it's a leading indicator, and why this activity that's happening with Dog is not just on Bitcoin, but it's also on the Solana network. So let's get right into it. Let's not waste any time. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to join us on X. Please be careful with any of the scammers down in the comments below. I'll never reach out via WhatsApp, Telegram, direct messaging, or email. So please be careful and invest safely. Guys and girls, let's get right into it. Okay, so Dog Bitcoin right now, believe it or not, is up 6.21% in the past 24 hours. I'll bring up why that's actually pretty important. But before we talk about meme coins and Dog, let's talk about what happened over the weekend, which is Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin actually dropped between 89,000 to 86,000 over the weekend. That's a huge drop. That's roughly around 2 to almost 3% to the downside. Remember, whatever happens to Bitcoin will ultimately affect every other altcoin and meme coin sector. Why did Bitcoin take a dip? Well, some people would like to speculate is because possibly there's going to be a government shutdown. And there's a few complications because there's a few things happening within the United States that's really shaken up the Democrats and Republicans to not trust each other, especially over this government funding bill. Since this government funding bill is funding things like ICE, which we know the whole ICE story is becoming a huge topic within the news. So it looks like there's a 79% chance that there will be a government shutdown this January 31st. And what that also means is the Clarity Act, which is what crypto has been waiting for, may not be passed anytime soon. So maybe that could be it. But what about this? What if it's the Japanese yen? Because it fell in value drastically recently. And now there's some speculation that the US is going to have to step in line to help bring up more liquidity into the yen in order to prop it up, because the US dollar and the yen are pretty much relative to each other. And what we had seen over the past 24 hours is that there's been roughly $574 million in liquidations, roughly $296 million in long liquidations. These are the people that are very bullish on cryptocurrency, especially Bitcoin. And when you look at the Bitcoin monthly returns, which is actually kind of crazy, January is actually not up by that much, only 0.05%. By the way, yesterday, this was down negative 1%. How crazy is that? We already had a bearish October, November, December, and you're telling me that we're going to have a very bearish, January, February, March? I don't know. Look at this time over here back in 2018. Very bearish for August, September, October, November, and December. What followed after that? Even though we had the following month in January in the negative of 8%, we saw a very bullish Q2 and also Q3 following after that. So could we see the exact same thing happen right over here in 2026? Well, we'll see. And as a result of all this news, you're seeing silver reaching a new all-time high yesterday at around $105, and also gold reached a new all-time high for the very first time in history, $5,000. Now, I want you to read this specific article that I had published on X. This is regarding gold and silver potentially peaking between February 20th through 24th, meaning that possibly could be the top, and then there's a slow trickle down of gold and silver going down in price, and you could most likely see those profits rotating into, tech stocks, Bitcoin, even Dog for that matter, speculative assets. And the reason is, and you can read this article, it has to do with astrology. Now, I don't want to dive deep into this because this can be explained in a whole entirely different video, but just think of it like this. Last time we've seen silver blossom this much was during the Roman times, when silver was basically the currency at that time. And so we're seeing the exact same thing 6,000 years later. And so right now, I want you to read this. It's a fantastic article. I had a really great time writing it, but definitely check it out. Okay, let's talk about meme coins and the meme coin sector. Now, we're going to go and scroll down. Let's pay attention to what happened in the past 24 hours. Some, of these meme coins are up 5%, 3%. We have SPS 6900 up 5%, but it's down 23% over the past 7 days. We'll get into that in just a little bit. Then we also have Brett, which is down 12% past 7 days, and also Dog down 8%. But Dog has actually gone up in the past 24 hours significantly, by 6%. And as you can see, yesterday, Dog was the first leading indicator while the entire meme coin market was down. Dog wasn't even down. It was actually up 4%, which is kind of crazy. Now, I want to talk about SPX 6900 because this is really important to understand about community, right? Like, community is probably one of the most essential things behind a meme coin. Now, when I went into SPX 6900, and I noticed that the price of SPX was actually down significantly. If you look at the overall chart, it's down to 0.38%. But let's look at it by market cap. Not too long ago, in roughly July of 2025, this specific coin was over $1.6 billion. And now it's worth $356 million. So you must be wondering what the community feels. So sometimes I look to the right, and listen, some of these could be bots, but nonetheless, just read them. Now, this specific bot or fodder says, SPX, all jokes aside, this meme is done. Stop buying this crap. Then we have another person named Mask. Get out now. And this person's claiming that this is a rug pull. And the worst thing that a person could ever say, which I never recommend people saying ever, is that somebody's threatening to kill Murad. And then we have another person saying another scam. But nonetheless, these are negative comments by bots or small accounts that don't have great followings. Now, I don't care if SPX 6900 is a meme coin that's a scam. I don't really care. The fact is, you don't need a community attacking a community, right? So sometimes I wouldn't believe any of this, but that's the sentiment that's going on. The reason I show this to you is also because you're seeing how people feel about this meme coin that's down significantly. So would you rather follow a coin with a KOL or a leader, or would you rather follow a coin like Dog that has no leader at all, and all we have is a leader community and no followers? That's the thing. We're not a cult. We are literally a movement of unstoppable force on Bitcoin. And that's why you saw yesterday that Dog actually flipped Brett. Yes, the #1 meme coin on Base. And if you didn't know, Brett is listed on Upbit, which is a Korean exchange, Bybit, HTX, and Binance US. And it still got flipped by Dog, which only has Kraken. That just goes to show you how powerful the Dog army is. And check this out. Believe it or not, I think Brett took notice of this. So today I noticed on CoinMarketCap, and you can go onto the Dog CoinMarketCap listing. In the comment section, you'll see that Base Brett, yes, the official account, mentioned Dog, saying that tokens like Dog have a unique ability to leave an iconic mark within the Bitcoin ecosystem. And then it even goes to say that Brett's kind of the same thing. And they even say that the key difference is simple, that Brett has already achieved billions of dollars in market cap. So they're actually comparing themselves to Dog. But here's the thing, you can't do that. Because if you look at that specific diagram, have you noticed that the top 100 holders within Brett own 56% of the supply? That's a lot. If you look at Dog owners only own 29% of the circulating supply within the top 100 wallets. So Brett cannot compare itself to Dog, even though they say that in the comments. This is why data is more important than just reading what people say. Okay, now let's get into Dog on Solana, which is something that I want to highlight here. So you may have noticed that we had this massive dip over the past weekend. Look at this. This is a massive dip, and that massive capitulation that happened ended up going right back up. Now I want to go into the technicals, which I think is actually quite interesting. You may have noticed that the volume in USD and the volume and also the token has actually gone up significantly over the past couple days. You can even see it here in terms of how many trades. But what's really interesting, look at the holder count. The holder count keeps growing on Solana. That means right now we're at 10,760. And during that dip that we saw over the weekend, look how many people started posting their trades. And I never told these people to do it. So check this out. We had Runes Runner buy around $84. We have Trucker Biff bought roughly around $379. We have J-Dog bought $25, which is okay. Any amount is great. That's what we call dog cost averaging. Then we have Free Speech bought roughly around $121. We have Web3 Meme Guy buying $1,000 worth of Dog. We have Easy E buying $20 worth of Dog. And the list keeps going on. We have Chucky. We also have Hova Beta, Natino's Andrea. We also have Ocean, J-Dog again, Cholo. And the list keeps going on. We have another one. We have Ghouls. We also have Runes Runner again. And then we have Fonteg Hero. They all bought Dog on Kraken. This is the difference between the 1% versus the 99%. The 1% is all the people that you just saw right now. And this is why you're seeing the Dog community outlast and outpace Brett, even SPX 6900. You can tell that the Dog army has been through this so many times that now we are full of diamond hand holders. Let me go back to this one image right over here, because you've noticed the long-term holders remained at 77%. Nothing has changed. Even though you're seeing the price of everything go down, it does not mean the long-term holders have sold. No. It just means that everything that's priced in Satoshis against Bitcoin. So if it's SPX priced in Satoshis or Brett based in Satoshis, well, Dog also priced in Satoshis will go down when Bitcoin goes down. But what happened was Dog ended up outperforming Bitcoin. So here's a great example. So if I go over the past 24 hours, you can see clearly how Dog has actually outperformed Bitcoin's price in Satoshis. And check this out. This is SPX 16900 compared to Bitcoin's price over the past week, and it's gone down a lot in value. And the same thing can be said about Brett, how Brett is actually underperforming against Bitcoin's price. Now, another thing I want to share with you is that if you zoom out, okay, when in doubt, zoom out. You got to see the bigger picture, because Dog on the monthly time frame is setting up a dark green candlestick. So we've seen this happen before, where early on we saw green candles before another run up. And so we're almost seeing the exact same thing here. And what's really interesting is that you got to pay attention to how many times we've been oversold. We've been oversold for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 months of being oversold. That's way too long. That's the longest we've ever seen. We've seen 4 months here and 3 months here. This is the longest. Not only are we oversold, but we've absolutely bottomed to the very bottom. To me, the only direction that Dog has right now is to go up regardless. It doesn't matter if it takes a few months or even a year. Dog is only going one way, and that is up and to the right. Now, when we focus on Dog in the zoom up scale, this is Dog right now. Now, with this light pink sell bar, that means that maybe we could see a reversal. So we're still remaining within the buyer's market, which is above this purple line, and below that is the seller's market. So right now, the orange and blue line are still in the buyer's market. You can even tell that this green candlestick right now did wick above this red resistance line, which is $128 million. Now, right now, the bull flag right here that we have is invalidated, but it doesn't mean that it's invalidated until there's a completion for the next few days, meaning this green candlestick could actually get right back up within the bull flag, and we could see something very similar to this, where the bull flag sets up this pole and is telling us where the Dog price is going to be, which is, again, 200 million market cap. That could happen by maybe February 14th of this year. So if you go to the RSI, let's pay attention to the purple line, because right now the purple line has kind of reversed, but it's between these two red lines, kind of stuck within this wedge. Now, why am I bringing that up? Let's look into the past. Now, when was the last time we saw that this purple line was down here below these two red lines? When you look back over here, we were overbought for quite some time, and what happened was we ended up curving back down here, which is where the purple line is. The purple line is stuck between these two red lines, and then we saw a reversal back up to a new all-time high at 999 million market cap. So you can see that when that reversal happened, it pumped right up around here into this green box zone. So anything can happen. It can happen right over here. This could replicate what we saw back over here in October of 2024. Because really, this is actually quite healthy to me, because we're still in the buyer's market within the MACD, and we saw a massive pullback, which we needed to reset Dog, because we had a massive pump to the upside for Dog Bitcoin. As you can see, with this large purple line going upwards, we only saw Dog go from 90 million to roughly around 160 million. That's not a big pump too much, but it was too quick. So we needed, as I mentioned before, a pullback to reset ourselves, and that's what it's looking like and what it's going to be. So as always, I remain bullish on Dog. Listen, Dog is up 6% in the past 24 hours, and over the past month, it's up 25%. So really, we're not shaken up. To me, this is a great time to Dog cost average. Have exposure. You're seeing other meme coins get jealous of Dog and comparing themselves to Dog. You're seeing more holders on Solana continue to grow because they can now buy it on Coinbase easily. But not only that, remember, Solana traders will chase the next meme coin, whatever it may be. If it's a penguin, if it's some animal, if it's some, scam token, Solana traders will flock to it. And at any moment in time, these Solana degens can come over and just pump the Solana Dog version to the moon out of nowhere. Yes, it can happen really quick, where it could be up to $1 billion. And that would reflect very well to the Bitcoin L1 token of Dog, since it's bridged between the two different chains. So that's what I want to share with you in today's video. Absolutely amazing. Loved what happened over the weekend. And I just want to give a shout out to all the Dog Army members out there. You continue to show up every single day. And that is the secret ingredient to any meme cycle, is that community dictates and is the leading indicator of a bull run for Dog and for any meme coin for that matter. So with that said, thank you so much for showing up. Thank you for subscribing to the channel, but be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to join us on X to receive all of our alpha calls and updates regarding Dog on the Moon. Till then, see you guys girls next time.